Justin Bieber had it all by 15, fame, fortune, and millions of fans. But behind the spotlight, a darker story was unfolding. What really caused his sudden downfall, and why has so much of it stayed hidden? Imagine sitting at your computer, uploading a grainy video of your kid singing on a secondhand guitar. That's all Patty Mallet did, completely unaware that the video she posted of 12-year-old Justin Bieber in Stratford, Ontario would become the first domino in a global phenomenon. It was simple, raw, and heartfelt. A boy singing in his living room for no one in particular, but little did she know that amateur clip would be discovered by a talent manager casually browsing YouTube, and her son's life would change forever. What started as an innocent upload quickly became the foundation for an entire era, both for Justin and for the music industry itself. Before Justin Bieber, breaking into the music business looked more like a fairy tale than a realistic possibility for kids from small towns. Talent scouts, expensive demos, and lucky breaks were tickets to stardom. But posting videos online? That was unheard of in 2007. Patty didn't have the money or connections to make it the traditional way, so she turned to what she had: a camera, a gifted child, and an internet connection. The home video clips of Justin performing hits by Usher and Nayo soon gained traction, with viewers impressed not just by his technical talent, but by the sheer emotion he poured into his performances. And then came Scooter Braun, a then unknown talent scout. Braun stumbled across one of those uploads and his instinct made him stay. In Justin, he saw more than a singer, he saw a star. He flew up to Canada to convince Patty to let her son pursue music professionally, a decision that took days of prayer for her to make. By the time Justin signed a deal, he wasn't just a local prodigy anymore. He was a 13-year-old chasing a dream that wasn't entirely his own creation. And within months, things moved at a speed no one could have predicted. One moment, Justin was busking on the streets of his small town, hoping to save enough for a trip to Disney World. The next, he was flying out of private jets, living a whirlwind life that hadn't been on his radar a year before. His debut single, One Time, dropped in July 2009, and everything clicked for him almost instantly. It wasn't just a hit, it exploded. The song rocketed up charts in over 10 countries and catapulted Bieber into the public consciousness. Suddenly, he wasn't just a YouTube star, he was a pop sensation. That same year, he achieved what few artists have now, let alone then, charting 4 different singles in the Billboard Top 40. And remember, this was before he even released a full-length album. But Justin's real power wasn't just in his hits, it was in the fans. His social media-driven fan base became something entirely new for the industry, forcing the music world to rethink how stars are made, marketed, and sustained. Sure, social media already existed in 2009, but no one else was mobilizing it the way Justin was. Every tweet, every video, and every interaction sent shockwaves across the internet. Girls camped outside hotels, collapsed when they caught a glimpse of him, and turned events into public safety concerns. The Beliebers weren't just a fan group, they were a cultural moment. Justin wasn't just setting records, he was breaking the internet in ways few had before. For all the screaming fans and the fame though, there were still cracks forming in Justin's picture-perfect life. Imagine being dragged around the world for TV appearances, concerts, and promotional campaigns, barely able to take a breath. At just 16, Justin confessed in interviews that he felt like he was missing out on a regular childhood. To hear him talk about wanting to hang out with friends his own age or play basketball at home was heartbreaking, even as the world was watching him smile. Those moments didn't just reveal his vulnerability, they foreshadowed how fame would slowly start to take pieces away from him. People viewed him as a phenomenon, but underneath it all, he was just a kid trying to make sense of an extraordinary, complicated life. Justin's rise to stardom wasn't just a happy accident or a testament to talent. It was the beginning of a life shaped and often overwhelmed by a fame machine that didn't stop to ask if he was ready. And as fans screamed his name and his star rose ever higher, there was already a cost to his meteoric success. A cost that, at the time, no one truly understood. But the pressure Justin faced in these early years was only the beginning. His peaceful small-town world had been replaced by flashing lights, obsessive fans, and an industry that demanded he keep smiling, even when the cracks were impossible to ignore. From the outside, Justin Bieber had it all: fame, fortune, and a fan base that seemed to adore him at every turn. But fame isn't always a dream come true, especially when it traps its stars in a relentless spotlight. For Bieber, the media wasn't just documenting his life, it was intruding on it, turning him into a product for public consumption. During the peak years of his stardom, the press seemed eager to push boundaries, whether it was digging into his private life, hyper-focusing on his every move, or turning turning moments of genuine discomfort into punchlines for entertainment. An early example of the cracks in Justin's glossy public persona came during a routine appearance on The Today Show. Fans expected to see him pull off another careless performance, but instead, they witnessed the unspoken stress of a teenager trying to hold it all together. In an off-camera moment, Justin reportedly hid one of his essentials, a passport, to avoid completely being used to evade an unreal stage expectations. While the headline screamed about Justin Bieber's arrests, scandals, and outbursts, few people stopped to ask why it was all happening. Behind every viral controversy, he was quietly battling demons that no tabloid dared to discuss. Addiction, mental health struggles, and even physical health problems painted a much darker picture of his life than the public ever saw. Fame had handed him the world, sure, but at what cost? Justin himself has opened up about how it all began. In his documentary, he revealed that he started using drugs at a frighteningly young age, not as a party accessory, but as a way to escape. The pressure of being a global superstar wasn't something anyone could prepare for, let alone a teenager. Marijuana came first, then it spiraled into experimenting with harder substances like MDMA and lean. It became an escape for me, Justin admitted, as the demands for him to be perfect never let up. For a while, drugs gave him the only relief he could find in a schedule that pushed him to the brink. But of course, the relief didn't last. By 19, he wasn't just dabbling in substances, he was dependent on them. What started as a numbing mechanism quickly turned into yet another prison. And all the while, his exterior couldn't crack. The pressure to maintain his image as the beloved boy next door was relentless. Even when headlines like Pop Prince or Problem Child dominated the tabloids, the industry machine kept him working. It didn't matter that he felt isolated or that he was losing parts of himself daily. His 360 deal with Island Records bound him not just financially, but physically to a ceaseless grind of music, appearances, and tours. These deals made sure he wasn't just an artist, he was a brand subjected to endless commercialization. Even when his body and mind were starting to break down, stopping wasn't an option, or rather, wasn't allowed. The toll of that lifestyle wasn't just mental, it was physical. Over the years, Justin revealed he'd been struggling with Lyme disease and chronic Epstein-Barr virus. For those unfamiliar, this meant symptoms like exhaustion, muscle pain, and debilitating headaches plagued him constantly. Fans didn't see that behind the scenes. He was fighting his body just as much as he was fighting the constant demands of fame. At one point, it looked like these physical challenges were being attributed to bipolar disorder. Justin was even prescribed lithium, but later, his team suggested that diagnosis might have been inaccurate, adding yet another layer of confusion. It likely didn't help that his health battles were mocked in the media, rather than empathized with. Touring made things even worse. The physically and emotionally draining nature of the road left little time for recovery or reflection. Like many young stars, he was on autopilot, moving from one city to the next, putting on a smile for screaming fans while privately unraveling. The Purpose World Tour, while wildly successful, began to wear him thin. After performing for millions and traveling across continents, Justin reached a breaking point. In July 2017, he shocked the world by suddenly canceling the final 14 shows. He told fans he simply needed to rest and heal, a rare admission of vulnerability in an industry that considers exhaustion a badge of honor. This decision marked something of a turning point. The Justin Bieber the world had come to know, the pop persona, the flawless star, was beginning to fall away as the human underneath started fighting for survival. He finally began seeking help for his struggles, including his addiction issues, mental health, and physical ailments. Therapy and a tighter, more supportive inner circle became priorities. Instead of running from the pain, he chose to confront it. For the first time in years, Justin gave himself permission to pause, even if the public didn't fully understand. While fans were mourning the end of a tour, Justin, for once, was focusing on mourning the pieces of himself fame had taken. But the battle wasn't over, not by a long shot. There were new challenges to face, personal and professional, and the world was still watching. Justin Bieber's life isn't just another celebrity success story. It's a warning about the brutal cost of fame. From a small-town kid to a global superstar, his journey reveals how stardom often comes at the expense of humanity. Treated as a product, Justin endured relentless pressure, invasive scrutiny, and personal exploitation, leaving scars that are hard to ignore. According to reports, his struggles reflect an industry driven more by profit than human care. So how many more young stars must endure this cycle before we rethink our obsession with fame? Justin's resilience reminds us there's always hope, even in chaos.